Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. And today I'm going to be talking about Kalani and Asuelu. This is 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, Season 5, Episode 11, Public Displays of Contention. So guys, I think I'm going to surprise some of you today with this video. I've been looking at Twitter and the blogs and everyone's Team Kalani, but I have a completely different angle to look at this from, which I'll go over at the end of the video. If you're new here, welcome, consider subscribing. And if you've been here before, please make sure that you are subscribed. Please just make sure you press that red button and don't forget to like and share the video. So without further ado, Kalani and Asuelu. So today, Kalani is going to meet Asuelu's mum and sister Tammy. As we remember last week, Asuelu's family were putting an awful lot of pressure on Asuelu for him to give them £1,000. And I'm still not quite sure if this is every month that they want this ridiculous sum of money. However, Asuelu only earns £1,000 a month, so it's virtually impossible. Tammy, the sister, and his mum seem to think that it's his duty, and they also think Kalani is the problem why they're not being given the money they ask for. And so they go to meet on a bridge. Kalani, are you mad? That could never be me. I would never be meeting these two near any body of water. I can imagine myself being flipped into the water if they don't like what I say. And Kalani tells us, I feel sorry for Asuelu having a mum whose love is conditional on money. And she said, I'm meeting without him, so hopefully I can talk some sense into them. And so Kalani waits there, and in the distance, two dishevelled figures strolling towards Kalani. And they both seem to prove the fact that evolution can go in reverse. And guys, they honestly look like extras from Nightmare on Elm Street. I've honestly never seen a sight like it. And I'm very worried for Kalani. In fact, I'm so scared I'm watching from somebody else's laptop. And so they greet and give each other a half-hearted hug. And the Ebird loves what Asuelu's mum's done with her hair. How did she get it to sprout out of her nose like that? And Kalani said, right, I'm here to tell you guys, I don't know why you feel entitled to me and my family's money, but it's just not going to happen. Right, okay. Is that the talking some sense into them that you meant, Kalani? And the mum says, the money my children send to me is their duty. And then she said, however you feel that way. But it is going to be how I say. And guys, this is quite an opening gambit, because she's more or less turned up and said a big F you. Ooh, F you, your mama too and your daddy. And Tammy caught that F you with all 6 fingers. And Tammy said, you understand, your dad is from Samoa. And Kalani said, yeah, I understand Samoan culture, but this is being taken to the extreme. And his mum said, just give me money, that's all I want. Well, since you ask like that, who could refuse? And Kalani said, what money is he supposed to be giving you? If he gives you all his money, he's going to be poor. And Tammy said, he's not going to be poor. Your parents can help him. They can help support you. You live with them. In Samoan culture, you support your mum and dad until they die. Well, you're staying at home all the time. Maybe if you got a job and worked full time, you can help with our family back home and you could send money to them. And at this point, Kalani just thought, oh my God, you guys are actually unbelievable. And she said to them, so you want me to not look after my babies, to leave them at home and go to work so I can earn money to give it to you and to send it to people I don't know in another country? Am I getting this right? But Tammy was in her full stride now and she was streaking. And she said, I work full time. I take my kids to activities. I take my kids to school. I pick my kids up. I take them to games. I take them to dance. I take them to this and that. Do you get it? Or are you lazy? Wow. And Kalani said, so I'm lazy because I don't want to work to give you guys free money. And his mum said, this is the problem. When you met Asuelu, you should have discussed finances with him and you should have said, what is needed back home? What responsibilities do you have? And Tammy said, yep, this is all your fault. You went and got pregnant and you did it all behind our backs. Oh, good Lord, ladies, did you want a floor show? And at this point, the Ebird can hardly believe what she's hearing, and neither can Kalani. And she said, this is the craziest thing yet. You're acting as if Asuelu is some great catch. I've never asked for anything from Asuelu. And she said, they act as if I got pregnant on purpose. I am sorry that I met someone who wasn't rich and money played no part in us falling in love. I'm sorry if that's the case, but I don't know what else to tell you guys at this point. And his mum said, I have nothing because Asuelu will obey what you say to him instead of mum. I'm sorry, I don't care about the kids. I want to take my son back to Samoa so he can do his duty like he did before. And Tammy said, yeah, I think you guys need to get divorced or separated. And Kalani said, so you want him to abandon his kids because he won't give you all the money. This is crazy. As I said last week, I did look into Samoan culture, and whilst it is a very communal culture, I find it just so hard to believe that this is the done thing. And I would love it if I have any subscribers with knowledge of Samoan culture, or any subscribers that are Samoan, to let us know how normal this is. Do you normally have to turn over your whole cheque? Part of your cheque? Is there normally a discussion? Because it seems to me as if they think it's their God-given right, that Asuelu just gives them whatever they ask for. And to producers, the mum says, Kalani just does nothing. She wants Asuelu for a husband, doing everything. Oh mum, I suggest you watch the show to see the everything that Asuelu does. Sunday night, 7 p.m, will give you all the clarity you need. And then Tammy said, you brainwash Asuelu, you're too old for him, you control him, and that's why I don't like you. And Kalani said, he had nothing when we met and I liked him. And then she broke down and she started crying. And Tammy said, why are you crying for? Because you're controlling my brother and brainwashing him. Kalani said, I'm done with this whole circus, I'm off. And Tammy said, oh no you don't, come here, come back here. When I see you, I'm gonna beat you up. Tammy, my love, you can see me now. Just saying. And as she walked down the bridge, Tammy flew at her like a raging bull. And Asuelu's mum had to literally bodily hold her back because she wanted to attack Kalani. And as Kalani walked off, she was still foaming at the mouth. So there are a couple of things that I want to pick up here. Firstly, I don't think Tammy gives any money. So let's go back to the restaurant where we first met Tammy. And Kalani said, do you send money home? And she just fixed her with a death stare and said, it's none of your business. Then when Asuelu went round to the house, Tammy said, I send money home, but she was far less than convincing. And then today when she was given all the list of the things that she does, it was all surrounded about taking her own kids to school and picking her own kids up and sending her own kids to dance lessons. Incidentally, if you can afford dance lessons, you're hardly on the breadline. But I digress. There was absolutely no mention of Tammy sending money home. And Tammy seems very, very invested. She obviously lives with her mum. And so if her mum gets this £1,000 a month, Tammy's obviously going to get hands on a portion of it as well. And is that part of the Samoan culture too? Are you supposed to give money for your sister and your sister's kids? And again, when Tammy said, you went and got pregnant behind our backs. Who's our? What difference would it make to you? Unless, of course, you were getting money from Asuelu. I think that Asuelu's so easily manipulated that when he was in Samoa, you could make him give you all his money and he wasn't massively concerned. I now realise why he didn't send any money to Kalani whilst she was pregnant. He was giving it all to you and your kids, Tammy. And the second thing I'd like to pick up on is the fact that his mum said, I don't care about the kids. Sorry? They're your grandkids. And this says masses about her character. She doesn't care about the grandkids or about her kid, Asuelu. And she suggests that Asuelu should leave his kids, divorce his wife and go back to Samoa because that way at least she'd get some money. What kind of a mother would suggest such a thing? She has no care or concern for what Asuelu wants, or for his role as a father. All she wants is Asuelu's money. But the funniest thing is Asuelu's mum just saying, I just want money. The Ebird just wants money. Everybody just wants money. Money's the reason we go to work. Money's the reason we do many things that we don't particularly like doing. People say money doesn't make the world go round, but money sure stops a lot of nonsense. Can you spend your time away from your children doing something you probably don't like doing so that I can have money? And people got on my back last week for saying that I thought she was a simpleton. This statement alone convinces me she's a simpleton. And so Kalani goes back home and she tells her sister, well, it didn't go too well. And she said, can you look after the boys for me because I want to pack my stuff and get the hell out of here. I don't want to have anything to do with his mum or sister anymore. And whilst I'd feel exactly the same, she has to break it to Asuelu carefully because this is her saying, I don't want anything to do with the only family that you have who live in America. And she tells Asuelu what happened. And she said, they told me that I brainwashed you about money and now they can't control you. And Asuelu said, that's really bad, but you don't control me. And to be quite honest, I don't think she does control him. If she did, I think it'd be a little bit more helpful and it'd at least work full time. And Kalani continues, Tammy says she works full time and so we're lazy because we don't. And your mum told me she doesn't care about the babies. She wants you to leave me and go back to Samoa so that you can give them money. And Asuelu at this point looked really broken-hearted and he said, oh, it's really bad. So basically they've gone from level 1 to level 70. And you can see he's just trying to take it all in, because just a couple of weeks ago, his mum was all over the grandkids saying, "Oh, I love them and I miss them." She's quite the little actress. But this is where things start to go a little bit awry, because Asuelu tells producers, "I'm surprised at what's been said, very surprised. Maybe there's been misunderstanding between what my mum and my sister meant to Kalani." And Kalani said, "You shouldn't have a relationship with these people anymore because they're assholes." And Asuelu said, "Don't call them assholes." And Kalani said, "Well, tell them to stop acting like assholes and I won't call them it." And Asuelu said again, "Please don't call them assholes. They're people. They're not assholes. Let's talk to them some more and let's just wait until they understand our position." Now I can understand exactly what Asuelu's saying, because he wasn't at this meeting. He didn't see how much Tammy was screaming and shouting. And also he didn't see the derision with which they spoke about Asuelu to Kalani. Almost as if he was the village idiot that they used to control and now you control, and we want to regain our control of him. That bit I think was all lost in the subtext when she told Asuelu. And at this point you can tell Kalani's really irritated because she wants Asuelu to be more angry. Unfortunately, Kalani, he's just very upset. You're basically telling him his mother doesn't love him. You're demonstrating it to him. This is a life-changing moment for Asuelu. And so Kalani tells him, "Your sister then tried to fight me. She had to be held back. If she'd have touched me, I would have knocked her out. You would knock my sister out." "Yes, I would knock her out. I would beat her." And Asuelu said, No, that's not happening." And she said, "I would beat her, and do you know what? If I took you in a fight, Asuelu, I could beat you too." Kalani, is this really needed at this point? "Oh, you could beat me and my sister." And Kalani said, "If your sister would have touched a molecule on my body, I would have dropped her." And Asuelu said, "No, I think my sister would win." And Kalani said, "You're pissing me off now. Now you want to debate who would win in a fight." Kalani, I don't know if it's just Asuelu that's debating. He's not debating on his own now, is he? And Kalani said, "Oh, shut the hell up. Like your family, you talk around in circles and you talk nonsense." And Asuelu said, "You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy." And to production he said, "We have lines that we don't cross, and Kalani needs to control the way she talks to me and she talks about my family." And so Kalani stormed back in to see her sister, and she said to her sister, "I told Asuelu what had happened, and all he wanted to do was debate if I could beat his sister or not." And Kalani, what you said to your sister is not true. That's not all that Asuelu said. Asuelu was busy trying to make sense of what you were telling him. And then you said you could drop his sister, and you said you could drop him. Let's be real about this. No man ever likes being told they could be dropped by anybody, much less their spouse, much less a woman. And Kalani looks absolutely beaten by the time she speaks to producers, and she tells them, "At first I thought he was on my team, but then he showed his regular self. He seemed like he was changing, but I think he is who he is and he's never going to change." And Kalani said, "I can't live like this. This is just insane. I think I'm done." And that's where we end things for this week. So Kalani feels very aggrieved, and she should feel aggrieved at the way Asuelu's mum and sister spoke to her. It was absolutely disgusting. And I know that 95% of the internet are behind Kalani on this. And I will completely admit that Asuelu hasn't stepped up as a husband and as a father thus far. But I think he has made some progress. But I think it is kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I honestly think in this given situation, it's very hard for Asuelu to accept 1, his mother doesn't love him unless money's involved. 2, his mum and sister are gold diggers. It's a lot to take in. As for the stupid argument about who would drop who, I think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. That's a very childish argument. But the main point I want to make about Kalani is she threw away a very good opportunity this week to make a proper point to the mum and the sister, and that's this. Asuelu only works part-time at the moment. He only earns £1,000. We live with my parents, and although you think Asuelu should give you his whole paycheck and that my family will look after him, that's really the equivalent of my parents wiring you £1,000 each month. However do you work out that that's in any way fair? And I think she also needed to say to the mum, if you can't afford it in America, don't be in America. Go back to Samoa where life is cheap. And we'll send you $50 a month and you'll be absolutely fine. What about that for a compromise? They would never have accepted it, but she should have at least made the offer, because that way, when she's going back to Asuelu and saying, here's what we talk about, this is what was spoken about, he would be able to really clearly see then that even when she speaks sense, his mother and Tammy have got only one thing on their mind, and that's $1,000. So I know this is somewhat of an unpopular opinion, but guys, let me know what you think in comments down below. Do you think Kalani's delivery to Asuelu was right? And do you think that Asuelu's mum is the full ticket? I can't help but to think something is mentally wrong with her. And finally, what did you think to Asuelu's response? Do you think he needed a bit more time to mull it over? So please put down your thought, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please don't forget to press the like button, and I will see you very soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.